friends, and welcome back to our homestead. Today I'm going to be making another evening family meal that is low in carbs, keto friendly, and it's very, very tasty. And on top of that, it's very nostalgic and it's very hearty and it's just good all around. So I have fooled my family before thinking that it's something and it was just a keto friendly meal, and they were very pleasantly surprised. So I want to share that with you today, and hopefully you will try it and you will love it too. So if you like the content you see on my channel, please subscribe, follow along, share with your friends, because this is the time of the year when a lot of people are thinking about dropping a few pounds, improving their health, getting on a healthy journey. So this is going to help. So let me share what I'm going to be doing. So this is everything that we're going to need for today's dinner. And these are very simple ingredients, and I hope it's easy to obtain them. So a lot of people think that keto means no vegetables, and that could not be closer to the truth. We have a lot of vegetables here, okay? So today I'm going to be making mashed cauliflower with some butter and Котлеты. This is my word. This is a Russian word for meat cutlets. Okay, so I have 1 pound of beef and 1 pound of pork. All right, so I think I'm gonna start by working on the mashed cauliflower. So I have a pot here. Let me put everything aside here. I have a pot here that I have a little bit of water on the bottom, okay? And I have this little basket for any kind of steaming vegetables. And I have 2 beautiful heads of cauliflower, and I just need to break them off. And if I can, I'm just gonna take a knife and work on cutting off into pieces of cauliflower, like kind of like little florets. They don't have to be very small, okay, but this kind is fine. And I'm just gonna be throwing them on the bottom for steaming, okay, because this is what we're gonna be using to make mashed cauliflower, and that is a great substitute for mashed potatoes. And if you season it right, it's gonna be perfect. And I can tell you that it's very satisfying, it's very filling, and it's filled with beautiful vitamins that come from cauliflower. So I'm just cutting and breaking off into kind of chunky florets. And I already have a little bit of water on the bottom. I'm not gonna add any more. All right, so this is gonna go to my chickens. And I'm gonna put a cover on, and it's gonna go on the stove and start steaming. The next thing, I'm going to be focusing on making the meat cutlets. In my language, we'll call them котлеты. So I love to mix different type of proteins. In my case, I have some pork, ground pork, and ground beef. But you can have beef and chicken, pork and chicken, pork and turkey. But it is very important that we add good amount of fat, and this was good fatty kind of pork, and I am loving that part. If you feel that you don't have enough fat, then it is important to add some fat to it. So we're going to be adding to that few other ingredients. So I'm going to be adding some onion, and I have a large onion here that I already sliced, which I didn't mean to, I shouldn't have, but I did. So I'm going to put that in a food processor. Okay, to that I'm going to add a very big fat clove of garlic, and if you have small cloves, then 2 cloves of garlic going to go in here as well. You're also going to notice that I have, this is a quarter, which is about 4 ounces of cabbage, basic white cabbage. And guess what, my friends, that's also going to go into my котлеты, into my meat patties, okay? So that's gonna go in here. And also, I wouldn't be Slavic if I did not add dill. So here's fresh dill. If you don't have fresh dill, that's fine, you can omit it, but I'm gonna put it in there. And I'm gonna put it all in a food processor. All right, so let me just scrape the sides, make sure everything is nicely pulverized, and I think it is. All right, so let's see what we need to do next. So to this meat, all right, I'm going to add, this is 2 ounces of shredded cheese. And you can do any cheese you like, really. In my case, I have mozzarella cheese. I'm going to be salting it. And I always am shy of telling people how much salt to put because I think it should be personal choice. So I'm probably, for this is 2 pounds of meat here. I'm going to put probably, I want to say, a teaspoon of salt. Because you know what? It's always easy to add. It's difficult to remove. Let's face it. Let's be honest about it. All right. So I'm going to add about a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to be adding about half a teaspoon of crushed black pepper. All right. This is, again, it's going to add a really good flavor. About a half a teaspoon. All right. Now, I always love to season my meat with herb of Provence, and if you guys have other favorite herbs, but I really love this this combination of herbs, and I'm going to put about a teaspoon as well. Okay, about a teaspoon. All right, that is good. So now we need to mix it all. Oh, you know what else I forgot to say is that I have an egg, and what I need to do is I'm going to separate this egg. Okay, I'm going to put, oh geez. Well, that's not a good egg anymore. All right, I'm back, new egg. So what I meant to do was to separate the egg yolk from the egg white, because since we don't have any breadcrumbs in here, that's gonna give that texture to this meat. I'm gonna save the egg white separately for now, and I'm gonna put the egg yolk in here. And I need to add all of this other mixture in here. All right. So I'm gonna add this all in here. And I'm gonna mix it all together, and I'm gonna make sure that this meat is nice and soft. So I remember Mama, when she used to make cotlete a long time ago, she would literally work this dough by mushing it, mixing it, massaging it, slamming it back and forth until this meat was very, very soft. I'm not wearing gloves, but you know, if you want to wear gloves, that's fine. So I'm just going to mix it all together, all of these ingredients together. Okay, I may need to add a little bit more salt, but I have not done so just yet. So let me mix it all together. Okay, mix it all together. And then I'm going to add the eggs at the end, but I'm going to whisk them, because whisked egg will definitely add a really nice fluffiness to our cotlete, to our meat cutlets. All right, I hope I'm teaching you guys new Russian words, cotlete. So this is going to be a keto version of cotlete. You know, I remember growing up with cotlete in school and in other cafes in the Soviet time. They were so soft and fluffy. They were super cheap. But guess what? More than half of it was bread that was soaked in water. That's how they were able to afford to keep them cheap. There was not much meat in it. All right, so I'm gonna just mix it all. It's quite soft. So because it's soft, I don't have to add any liquid. However, if you guys feel that your meat is kind of tough and not very pliable, it's not a bad idea to put a little bit of cold water in here and whip it all together. And that way your cutlets are going to be super fluffy and they will melt in your mouth. And you're going to thank me later. All right, so this is doing good, doing good. I'm going to mix this for at least a minute or two, at least, maybe even more. So I'm not going to bore you with my recording. All right, this is becoming nice and soft. And Mama used to do this, to pick it up and throw it down. Pick it up, throw it down. Isn't that fun? Pick it up and throw it down. All right. Now I'm going to be adding these whipped eggs in here and mixing it all together. And that's going to help to keep my cutlets nice and fluffy. All right, so I need to get a skillet ready. And I'm gonna use a little bit of olive oil to make sure that everything is gonna be nice on the skillet. All right, I think that's enough mixing. Everything is mixed. Okay. All right, I'm gonna start making cutlets. So I wet my hands and I'm gonna make a cutlet. So this is about 100 grams or so of meat, and I'm just gonna put them on the cutting board. All right. So I remember Mama used to make them oval, okay, like this, oval shape. But you can make them round. Sometimes I make them round, sometimes I make them oval, whatever comes out. All right. And I'm just making a few. As the skillet, I have a cast iron skillet here that's warming up. And I've decided to actually cook them on avocado oil because avocado oil has a good high smoking point. All right, and it should help me because olive oil will burn fast, and I don't want them to burn. All right, so these little cutlets, meat cutlets, cotleti, they need to cook on each side, and I may have to turn them on each side twice. And even that, I want to make sure that they cook through, because remember, I have pork here, and pork has to be cooked through, all the way thoroughly cooked. All right. So the reason why I added cabbage, because cabbage is going to keep my cutlets nice and moist. Okay. The egg is going to help to keep it together. And cheese is going to add also a little moisture, because remember, we don't have any bread in here. All right, so I'm just going to make a few here, and I'm going to put them in the skillet. All right, so a little oil here. Oh, let me open this, bring the bottle. All right, avocado oil goes in. I need to turn down the heat so it's not, I'm being generous with oil because I want to make sure that nothing sticks to the bottom. All right. And the first cutlet goes in. Cauliflower. Yep, nice and soft, tender to the fork. It's time to drain it. All right, I'm gonna finish them off by adding just a little bit of water. Cover them up and let them steam for a couple of more minutes so they will be nice and soft. I'm gonna turn the heat way, way low in just for a couple of minutes. So it's time to make the mashed cauliflower. I like to do it in a food processor. So I'm just gonna put them all in here, just like this. When they're still steaming hot, gotta work very carefully so I don't burn myself. All right, and all I'm gonna do is just gonna add some salt for taste, okay? And butter. Mine is unsalted butter, but if you're using salted butter, so obviously you have to be careful with the amount of salt you're using because your mashed cauliflower will be super salty. So I'm using unsalted butter, and I'm gonna add a little bit of salt to taste and pulverize this all until it turns into beautiful and delicious and creamy cauliflower mash, and it's going to substitute mashed potatoes. potatoes. Let's give it a taste. Oh my goodness. So hot. It's so good. Who says that you have to not eat good foods when you're on keto? Yum! This is so good. Котлеты, are you kidding me? This is so good. Okay, friends. I hope you are encouraged to look into keto recipes. This is one of them. Enjoy them, cook them for your family, and be healthy. So be encouraged and try something new. Котлеты melt in my mouth. They literally melt in my mouth.